Hi, and welcome to a Small Medium at Large podcast. I'm your host, Gail Heisen, bringing you intimate stories that heal. I want to thank all you listeners for supporting us, subscribing, commenting, listening to us on Spotify, YouTube, and whatever social media channels you find us on. We just want to thank you for supporting us and being there. So let me tell you about our special guest today. Chun Liu is one of the most powerful women in international sports and was the first woman international baseball umpire from Taiwan. Throughout her sporting journey, she has refused to let gender discrimination stand in the way. It has not been an easy road, but her determination saw her go from being a volunteer in Little League to becoming the first female baseball umpire in Taiwan. With a boost from the New York Yankees, the figure known as the mother of women's baseball has gone on to umpire internationally in World Baseball Softball Confederation, the WBSC tournaments. She is also a social worker and founder of the Taiwan Sport Forward Association, which helps young girls with their athletic career development from playing to umpiring and managing. She has held over 100 speaking engagements throughout the country on ending domestic violence and sexual exploitation and advocacy for female empowerment through sport. She made her World Cup debut as an umpire at WBSC Women's Baseball World Cup 2010 in Venezuela. Chun Liu also became part of the 2017 Global Sports Mentoring Program in the United States. She was featured in Forbes' 2018 list of the most powerful women in international sports. In 2019, she became the first woman from Taiwan to deliver an award speech at the UN Woman. She was awarded the World Trophy from the International Olympic Committee for her advocacy work on gender equality and female empowerment through sports. Chun has published 5 books about her experiences, including her 2016 publication, Safe and Out, The Courage of Persistence, and another book, Introspect, How Baseball Teaches Us About Frustration and Attitude. The story of Chun Liu inspired 2 movies, the documentary, She is an Umpire, and the fictional work, The Busy Young Psychic, based on her experience as a medium when she was a high school student. It later became a TV series in 2017, The Teenage Psychic, and it was HBO's first Asia series in the Chinese language. Her focus remains on helping girls and women to get empowered, to become strong and willing to pursue their own happiness. She believes in their potential. I want them to live better lives, and I know sports can make a difference because that is what happened to me. Let's welcome her here today. Welcome.
Hi, Gail. Thank you so much for your introduction. Thank you. That's my great honor here.
Yes, it's you've accomplished so much. And so instead of me telling them all these stories about what you've done, I'm going to have you tell them when I ask you these questions. So the first thing I want to ask you about, and by the way, I ask this to all my guests, because I always like to start with the childhood, because some of my guests, whether they're acupuncturists or shamans or healers or what it is they do, I like to find out, was there something in their childhood that led them down that path? And what support did they get from their family? And was that something like, was baseball and psychic work things that were happening to you as a child? And how did your family react? And it's kind of a big question, but we can take it in sections. So let's just start off with you and your family, and if they were supportive in the talents and gifts you had.
Okay, thank you. That's a great question. And I'm very thankful to my family. They gave me a lot of love and support. So it's helped me to become who I am now. And in Taiwan, we have a very mature, not mature, that we have a various ghost culture in Taiwan. So there are a lot of people with a similar experience. and they are full of the ghost story everywhere. So it's not. So it's quite popular and common things in Taiwan, and we even have the Ghost Month every year. Yeah, so a lot of people will participate. I would say probably more than 60-70% people, Taiwanese people, we believe in this kind of stuff. So when I was very little, yeah.
Spirits
So
of dead people.
mm,
Are we talking about the spirits of dead people that they when you say ghosts?
ghost,
Yes. So we mean the
yeah,
spirits of dead people.
ghost,
So they
yeah,
feel comfortable knowing that ghosts exist. That's not to them like maybe.
yeah,
Know that.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
great. I have to come there.
yeah, please, yeah, you're more than welcome. Yeah. And yeah, so even we have the ghost month and the temples, they are everywhere. Yeah. So they also participate in all kind of different, all the levels of the election. So I would say the ghost culture in Taiwan is quite active. So when I was very, very, very little, even I cannot remember. I think my parents already accept that I can see something different, and their reaction was to took me to temples, because we have some rituals, some mediums will help me to let me. I mean, close the eye, because in Taiwan we believe if you see ghost, because you have an eye over here or something.
Yes, the third
So they try to close it, and but sometimes it works for a couple of days, but sometimes doesn't. Yeah. So
So they try to close it because they don't want to see with this eye.
Because they don't want me to see those ghosts.
Oh,
Yeah, because that our family guys disturbed about that, because I keep saying somebody's in my house, what they say, something like that. So they try to help me to close it. Yeah. And sometimes I got frightened by the ghost because they want to play game with me or something, but they really look ugly or something. So I'm afraid of that. So they try to help me out. But I think that's quite the event, because it's probably just born naturally. So they try, but I don't think it works. And since I told you that the Taiwanese accept the ghost culture is a part of our culture, so my neighborhoods and relatives, some of them, when they want to, buy an apartment, and they will say, hey, poaching the little girl, she saw the ghost, so maybe we can ask her to go with us to check out if the house, like our apartment they're going to buy, if it's ghost there or something. So they will took me to there. So I will tell people that I sell myself with ice cream and sausage, because they will buy me some food, and they say, come to my house to see if there's a ghost and communicate with them. Yeah. So that is a very big early beginning how I start to work as a medium, but it was just part-time. Sometimes the neighborhood needs something and ask me to translate something like that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And some memory is good, because to help people is a good thing. Yeah, so that's what I enjoy. But sometimes it's really hurt me. That's for example, people took me to the hospital and asked me how to help out or rescue the patient, to tell me to communicate with that. But when I was young, there's nothing I can do, and I will feel that I made something wrong. I didn't work hard enough, something like that. And I really don't like that people will took me to some dead bodies, like committed suicide accidents, and they force me to ask them if there are anything they want to say. And that is quite scary, especially when I was only a kid.
yes.
And then something really pissed out my parents was it was very popular for Taiwanese to play lottery by that time.
Oh,
So some adults, they will follow me to go to some graves, some tomb, to ask for the lottery numbers. So so my parents that think that was go too far. They don't like it. Yeah, they use me for the gambling, something like that. So I didn't help out. I didn't work as a media since I was 12 to 15, I think. During my junior high school, I stopped it, and that is the best time of all my life. The whole 3 years, I don't have to be a medium. But when I went to age 16, and one of my relative, actually, he is my brother-in-law's father. Okay, and he was a psychic. He was a media as well, but he really, I don't think he can really talk to the ghost, but he serve people at home. He have some idols, some different kind of god, and help out people who got possessed or got ear over there. So my sister suggests my parents that since he do the service for other people, maybe you can bring Pochin there to try to close the eye and help me out, since he is our relative. So my parents trust him, so they took me to his home, and he tried to do some ceremony on me, and actually it works. I mean, the ghost, one of the ghosts always follow me left. Yeah, so I think, wow, it's quite nice if somebody can help me out, because before that, when the ghost came to follow me, I just ignored them. I just told them to get away, and for a while they will just leave. So that's quite nice if somebody can protect me and help me out. So of course I trust him. And then he realized that he find out that I can see ghosts and even talk to ghosts. So when people ask him for help, he will tell me to see the ghost and communicate with ghosts first. And people think, wow, it works, it's work, and it's a quite entertainment, because, well, you can see me communicate with them, and sometimes it works. So more and more people came to him. But we provide service at 11 p.m. In Taiwan, because it's our tradition, because we believe that 11 p.m. is the start date of the date. So that is the timing for us for ceremony. But I was just a high school student. I have having homework and study. So since there are more and more people came to us, so they rent a house nearby my home, so I can I can short my transportation. So every time after school, I will go over there helping out people, and yeah, that's my daily life. So it was just like the TV series, Teenage Psyche. That was my daily life. I spent time on school and also on the temple as well.
So
Yeah.
that was one of my questions. And for our listeners, you can watch this on HBO, and there's 6 shows, 6 episodes, 1 season, and it's called The Teenage Psychic. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching this. I still have a few more episodes, and I was wondering how close to your real life that was. And what you're describing does sound like what you were doing in the show, because I guess it was a temple, the head of the temple, and that's who you were working with in the show, which I thought was a very good, and the description of you going to high school and having to sort of be you look exhausted between all the work you were doing at night, and then the work that you were doing just trying to be a student in the day. And I was wondering if during that time, if you felt very different or out of place with your other, friends or peers, or because I always felt like I sort of never belonged wherever I was. And I was wondering if that was kind of how you felt.
Well, that's a real quite challenge. I mean, no matter which side, it's hard enough for a teenage. I mean, no matter which side, but I have to do them both. And but by that time, I thought I have no choice, because in Taiwan, we believe that we were born to be a medium. I mean, it's our responsibility. So I thought it was my responsibility to help people as well. So actually, I think I have no complaint. I think that's I was born to do that. So but I gotta struggle that, because I really enjoy my school life, but I also want to apply my responsibility. So that's quite exhausted, and it's kind of confused that since you are medium, so people think you know everything. Since you are fortune teller, so people know you know everything. So I have no mental to ask. You know, if I try to figure out something and try to ask people, that people will say, "You are the master. Why you ask?" You know, something like that. So yeah, that's quite hard. And another and at a school, that's why I love first. I really enjoy my school. However, I have the very difficulty to get along with my classmates, my friends, because I think they are too childish. You know, since we have to face a lot of people's problem, you know, like ear disease and the depressions, the all kind possessed by the ghost, and a lot of questions. But my students, my classmates, they don't know about, my friends don't know about that, and they worry about, you know, the tests and or they're looking, you know, their uniform looking good, something like that. So I don't have the common talks with I don't know how to start small talks with my friends. Yeah, so I think they think I'm a spooky as well. So I try to, yeah, and and they think I believe they think I'm elegant as well, because I didn't show my respect to them. I think, yeah, it was my fault, because I tried to find out what happened to this word. And I also feel shame to let people know I work in the temple, because, you know, in the school, we teach science, and people, when we talk about the ghost, when we talk about this kind of stuff, people will think I'm a liar and think that's a superstition. And I don't want my friends make fun of me, you know, because when I was in my childhood, I had a very bad experience. It was that my friends, a lot of friends, when we pray together, and they will make fun of me because I see ghosts. Yeah, and the kids will say, because you see ghosts, so we dare not to pray with you. So I think this was my stigma, you know, that is my pain in my deep of my heart. I afraid that my friend won't like me because I see ghosts. They're going to abandon me. So I don't want my friends to know I work at time. So I still remember when I was 17, I think, in my school. So one of my classmates came to ask me that, my mom say you are a famous medium in Taipei. Yeah. And my first reaction to him was, no, your mother recognized wrong person, you know, like that, because I don't want to lose these friends. And I know if I say yes, I was a media, and I think they will come to me for more questions. Yeah, so that's really conflict that for me, as I really don't know how to deal with that. Yeah, was my high school life. I have to say it was tough. It was tough.
That was something that, you know, mine was, I started young, where I would have dreams and I would know when people were going to die, and old people would always want me to sit by their side when they were ill or whatever. That was when I was little. But then when I became a teenager, I ended up taking a course that was supposed to enhance your mind and abilities and all these things. And that at the end of the course, after 4 days, and you pay a whole bunch of money, you'd be able to then do all these things, healing people by going inside their body with your mind and doing work to heal them of their illness. So I thought this was an amazing thing, and I was able to do it before I was taught how to do it. I was just in the, and it was all with adults. And I ended up being just natural at being able to do this, being told somebody's name and the age and the city where they lived. And then I would scan the body in my mind and be able to tell them whether they had heart problems or if they had emphysema or different diseases. And I was only 15, so it's not like I even knew what the diseases really look like.
Yeah.
And it was years later when I went to Science and Industry in Chicago and saw emphysema lungs in an exhibit, and it was exactly what I'd seen as a teenager. So it was sort of validating that what we were seeing was real, but they didn't teach you anything about protection. And all they really were doing was using me. And I didn't realize that because I was young. I was doing this to help people. So I'd go home and I would do these, like putting gold light on them or water, or I would do these image things to help them with their illnesses. And then one day I got feeling like there was something trying to possess my own body and take me. And it was the most frightening experience. And it went on for days and days. And I think it was a dying person had attached on to me that I had been doing this, because I was doing hundreds and hundreds of bodies and they were all sick. And I ended up getting like so frightened and in fear that I said, I will never do this ever again. And at 17, I said, I'm not doing any psychics, only what's natural that comes in a dream or like that, but not this where you sit. And then also what I found amongst some friends or some other people is they wanted to, like, they don't believe it. So they're trying to make you play stupid games. Tell me how much money's in my pocket.
Yes.
What the number is for the lottery. If you could do that, then I'll believe it,
Yeah.
And my belief and the way my father raised me is he said, these are gifts that you have. Not everybody has them, and you don't ever attach money to them. He said, this is something that's coming from an invisible field and there's no money involved. He said, once you start charging money or trying to make money in cards or stocks or do these kind of things, you will lose the gift. So since he told me that when I was 10, I've always believed that to be true. And that's been my rule of this kind of work. So I don't ever do anything for any money. And I don't like get hired out to do readings or any of that. But I did get myself involved with scientists in 1993. So for 20 years, I did nothing at all that had anything to do with psychic except my regular stuff. But with them, I was doing stuff to work with science, to prove things about these abilities with science. And none of this was for money. And it wasn't for them to make money, where that other guy was using me to make money. This was people that were just purely investigating this world of psychic and paranormal research. So I found wonderful people, and I decided then to do that. And I became a subject for the last 20 years in remote viewing and doing psychic work. And I found it to be now in a different place because I'm much older. I know what I'm doing. I don't worry about, negative things. I've had experiences with some shamans where they brought dark negative energy, and I've had to fight that off. But I'm a stronger person, so it's different than when I was a young teenager and I really didn't know what was, like you're saying, you had no mentor. You didn't have somebody to give you the guidance. And you had some people wanting to close your third eye and other people that wanted you to tell them what's the lottery number.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting path.
Yeah, we have quite hopefully that's all no offense that we really have a very similar life. Just like my parents taught me to, make money through my psyche power, because they just like they say it's a born nature, so we should not take any money in that. As long as we have chance to help people, we try, but we that don't make money through through psyche. And also when I graduated from the university, and I major in social work because that's what I want to helping people.
Yes.
So before I graduate, I told my parents that I really sick of the temples. They just use me to make money.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I told them that I I'm willing to helping people, and so I'll choose to be a social worker, but I'm also okay to helping people with my psyche power. But please don't force me to do that,
Right.
or don't fool people with that, because when I become more and more famous in the temple, and the people will treat people that Sophia says so, Fortune says so, but it's not real. But I cannot stop it. I cannot stop it to make it like a show or something.
Right.
So I tell them that I don't want to do that anymore. So the temple was very angry, very angry with me. Yeah, and they told me that they will, they will have the magic, and they will throw me back. I was going to go back and beg them for forgiveness, something like that. But I'm very thankful to my parents that they are very strong, and tell them to go away, leave me alone, something like that. So that is how I can start my own life, because I tell my parents that maybe one day I will learn how to use my power safely, just like you say, to protect myself.
Mhm.
Because sometimes I feel risk as well, because I have to deal with the ghost, and when ghosts try to possess on me, nobody can help me.
Right.
Nobody help me, so we have to deal with that by ourselves. So why? I tell my parents that until I learn how to how I feel, how I know how to protect myself, and also when I feel comfortable with that, I will do it, but not now. And I want to have my own life. I mean,
Right.
when I was at age 20, I say, hey, I should have my own life. I have my own dreams. I want to do who I am, not just a psyche. As a media, I feel I'm a tool. I believe that you feel the same thing, that people use that tool. Hey, no, go, say something to communicate with them, and tell them to go away, when they use us, and then they just abandon it. They say, oh, you can go like that. But we are the ones suffering, So I tell them that I'm not a tool. I don't want to be a tool and help them to make money. And so, yeah. So I choose to, I got the job in the university, and I feel like I want to be I'm enjoying being a teacher and also a social worker, and I'm happy to helping people. And I love baseball very much. Baseball is the most popular sports in Taiwan. So I be a volunteer for Little League, yeah, and raise the gear equipment for kids, raise funding for them, and play with them, and then be an umpire. I enjoy my life. Yeah.
This, and I'm sure that the gifts that you have come through in the work that you're doing, not with people coming up and saying, what's the lottery, but you bring forth in knowing intuitively, like, I should go help this group, or I need to be with this person right now. Because I feel like you, that being able to help other people, I'm not, I haven't done anything big like you, but I help whoever I can that comes through my door.
Yeah.
And I've done help in some different indigenous cultures where I've gone down and spent time with cultures and given whatever I could to help them, whether it's, putting a roof on a temple or doing something. And I've always feel like that's the most important work that we can do, is helping other people. And you're doing it such a big way that afterwards I said, oh God, I really feel like I'm doing nothing now, you know?
Oh, you're too humble. We all try our best. You're
But
too
we all
humble.
try our best. That's right.
Yeah.
And I wondered, how did baseball, first of all, I have to apologize that I know very little about sports. And I've never been able to do any sports. And if I ever tried, I always got hurt. And when my daughter became a basketball player in school, my husband and I were cheering, and it turned out we were cheering for the wrong team. You know, we didn't even know.
That's hilarious.
And none of my brothers or father ever watched football or baseball or anything, but I have been to 3 baseball games at 3 of the stadiums in our country. One was in Shea Stadium, and it was the Mets and the Dodgers back in the 60s. And then, you know, it doesn't even exist anymore. Shea Stadium is torn down now. And then the other was in Chicago, and I saw the Cubs, I think is the Cubs, or I'm not sure, it was a baseball team. And then once in here in Oakland, I saw in California that in Oakland, but I found it to be a very, even though I didn't know anything about the game that much or what was really going on, the atmosphere in the bleachers or the audience or wherever it is you're sitting at these games was such a family oriented, nice. It wasn't like violent feelings like I would imagine football would be or something. Like everybody was friendly and warm, and it felt like a really nice family day to go to a baseball game. And so I think that it's a really it seems family oriented to me. And I was wondering, how did you ever watch games when you were young as a child? Did your dad take you out, or how did the baseball first get introduced to you?
Oh, I really, really love baseball because in Taiwan we was crazy about the Little League. So it was my dream to, umpire in Little League in women's sports, but it's not come true yet. Yeah.
Yes.
And when I was little, because of the time jack, so my parents, they woke me out maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m. to watch the game. But I was only age 4, age 5. I know nothing. But I know only that our family, we stay together and we have our traditional food. And then we won. We won the champion, like that. So for me, baseball is happiness. Because our family get together, cheer together, and as a Taiwanese, because we have some diplomacy problem issues in global society. So to be seen as a Taiwan is very meaningful to us. So baseball is very, very meaningful, especially when Taiwan was colonized by many countries before, including Japan. The Japanese, they colonized us for 50 years. So baseball was the only thing we can beat them in our society. So baseball is very, very meaningful to us. Yeah. And so I was born to enjoy baseball. And so my father,
were playing baseball then, or when you were
play with other kids, but not the regular,
or nothing.
Yeah, not regular, not a regular games, but just play with my neighborhoods. But my father took me to many games before. Yeah, when I was very, very young. So when I become an umpire, my relatives say, yeah, that's so true, because your father took you to baseball field when you was only an infant. Yeah, so
I read a quote in one of your papers that I thought was so fabulous.
And I not only baseball, I also practice. Yeah, I also practice karate. Because when I was young, when I see ghosts, I cannot deal with the pressure, and I don't know how to tell my parents that what I was facing. Sometimes you can only show your anger and the anxiety, because I don't know what to face it. And so my parents took me to sports, swimming, taekwondo, soccer, whatever. Because my parents say when I go back, I'm exhausted and go to sleep, and will not, tell them that.
Won't have any ghost time.
Yeah, no ghost story anymore. Yeah, so they send me to a lot of sport club, and When I practice karate, I think that was great because, to sweat is the best thing to deal with your pressure, and it's great that you beat somebody and people will say thank you to you. I think that's great support more. So that's really ease my pressure. Yeah. So
I
yeah, so
understand
that's
what you
why I
mean
enjoy
about
sports.
the pressure, because sometimes I asked, this was a question I asked my dad later in life, which was like, I saw his death coming.
Mm,
It was 2 years before it was going to happen, but my body was feeling it and he was healthy as can be. But really, there was cancer growing inside him when I was feeling something was happening. But because he didn't believe in going to doctors ever and no medical interventions, the cancer was growing, and until it got so bad that it knocked him out, he didn't know that was happening. And when he was dying, I said to him, should I have told you that I was seeing these things and this was, and he said, no. He said, death is for each person, just like birth, you come in alone. He said, death should be discovered on your own. You shouldn't, someone shouldn't come up and say, because I've had that where I have seen like a perfectly young person that's like in their 20s, who was married to someone that was working for me in my catering business. And when he came in to pick up his wife, just like you, all of a sudden, just have a vision out of nowhere. It just comes in. And I saw that he was going to die. And I was, what do you do with that? Because you're not going to say to his wife, oh, I just had a vision, your husband's going to die. He was healthy, working hard, young man. And 2 weeks later, he was helicoptered with some rare heart disease that attacked him. And it was the kind of thing you can't survive from. So he lived like a couple of weeks and passed away. But I felt like I was carrying someone's information, and it feels like a burden and a, like you're saying, responsibility. But I didn't think, I had just met them that day. So I didn't feel like I should say, oh, hi, how are you? I just saw you're going to die. I mean, what are you going to, how did you do that? I mean, and did anyone advise you on what to do with that kind of thing?
yeah, that's really tough. I'm still learning how to deal with that.
Oh, good. So I
Yeah.
have no answer either.
It's too hard. It's too difficult. Yeah.
It
No,
is.
I think that's a lifetime learning. I am not. Yeah, I don't know how to deal with that still now.
Okay, so I'm glad to know that we both share that same experience, that we see that and I don't know what to say or do when that happens, or if it's in a dream, but my dad always advised me that the person had to discover it in their time and their way.
Yeah.
So that was how I dealt with it. So there was a quote that your father said to you that I wished as a child I heard somebody say that. And I read in one of your papers, and I think the quote is, he turned to you and said, Chun Liu, you can do anything you want to do. And I thought, what an amazing, beautiful thing to give and plant a seed into a child, to know that whatever they choose, and you followed his advice because you chose baseball, and look how far you took this, not only for yourself, but to help all these other people and young girls and women. And then you started an association. And so I feel like he planted that. I'm holding him responsible for your success.
Yeah, I'm very, very thankful to my parents. Yes, they
And
are very wise.
are they still alive today, or?
My mother, yeah, my father passed away 2 years ago.
And
Yeah.
so have you had communication with him?
Before, by the time he left, yes, I
Yes.
think I saw two people, they feel like from Austria or something, and and took him away. So I'm very sad because I thought he going to turn back and say bye or something, but he didn't say anything and just left without a turn to me. So I'm quite sad about that. But maybe I tell myself, maybe that's his next journey. So I tell myself, don't be don't be sad about that. Yeah, because we already talk about that for quite a long time, and we enjoy the day stay together. So it's a time about it's about time it's come. So I should accept that, learn to accept that. Yeah.
My dad was my closest person in my family to me. And so it was my hardest loss
Yeah.
for him to go. And even though I know about spirit and that, and we cremated him, and I actually participated in the cremation. And so there's the deep bond. And so I thought that I would immediately start seeing him in my dreams, or he'd start telling me things or this or that. And when there was nothing right away, I felt so disappointed. Like, where is he? I thought I'm talking to all these other dead people. Why can't I talk to him? And he ended up coming to me as a bird, as a red-tailed hawk. And that's been our way to communicate. So when I feel like I need to see him or that I want a connection, I'll go outside and I'll ask for the bird. And when the bird comes and it flies around in the sky, I just say, thank you. You made his presence known, but it wasn't like my other experiences, and I thought it would be. So it's very interesting to hear you. So you had the same thing. He didn't just start appearing in your bedroom, or you didn't start seeing him here or there.
Only twice in my dreams, and both of the time it was a big event. The night before my big events or my work. So I think but when he showed in my dream, it's just like a daily life, sometimes like I remember he told me that, to take good care of our pets because they are alive as well, something like just very normal daily life. So I tell myself that probably I think he is very proud of me what I'm doing now.
Yes.
Because yeah.
Yes, I'm sure because and I feel like the same thing, like they're watching.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's that I feel very comforted in knowing that they're there. Or and sometimes I just say something like, all right, my dad was a mechanic and could fix anything. So when I have trouble and I can't fix something, I stop for a minute and I say, Dad, I need some help here. Can you show me which screwdriver to use or whatever? And there's some kind, and somehow it magically gets fixed. So you feel like there is some connection going on. So I want to go now to what you've done with your life in baseball and what has happened in your help for all these people and young women. I was watching one of the YouTube videos, and at the end of the show, everything will be listed so that anyone who watches the show, they can see how to watch any of the videos, whatever, we'll have all the contacts on it. But it was a video, and it was one of the people in one of your organizations teaching a little girl. She was going up to bat, to hit the ball, and she must have been 8 or something, I don't know. And he asked her this question about, does she think she's supposed to grow up to be a caretaker and mother and a lovely person, feeding and cooking and being in the home and married? Or does she feel that she's somebody that could do whatever she likes and wants to in life? And I thought this was such a shocking thing, amazing thing to ask a little kid when they're about to hit the ball. And she said, oh no, I'm going to be doing what I want to do. And I was like, yeah, bravo. Because, I'm much older than you, and the generation that my parents came from, and the one they, instilled in us was, oh, you're supposed to meet the person, and you get married, and then you blah, 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 blah. And I've never been able to follow that plan. I'm not that kind of person. I don't fit into those things. Never really wanted to ever even be married. So I'm the next generations now are having a freer time, where I see my nieces, so that's the next generation, their husbands participate in the help and the care, and they have careers. Both the husband and the wife have careers. And these are things that were not really happening in the old generations. There was a
Yeah.
whole thing with people like you who've made a breakthrough and shown another way that this can be done.
Yeah, and in Asia, we have a very strong traditional, tradition
Yes.
and the stereotype there. So it's even harder in Taiwan. I mean, in Asia. So, uh, I was a I was a volunteer as a Little League baseball, and then I tried to be an umpire because umpire sucks. So I tell them that the kids deserve a fair game. So I become an umpire, and then I realized there's a huge gender discrimination in my career earlier in 2006. So I think that was unfair. I mean, I want to stay in baseball and being a good umpire. So I'm very thankful that when people don't believe that I can do it, but I got sponsored by the All Star and Yankees. And then I stay in again, and I'm very thankful to that I can speak English. So when I don't have the chance in Taiwan, I just go abroad. I umpire in Australia, and then told me that one of the base umpire, they are from the major league umpire school, and they tell me to go there. And I have no money by that time, and I was taking my master degree in religion study by that time. So I asked us All Star if they can sponsor me. All Star, from Boston, the big company, and they are really support me, and they say, okay, we'll pay you to umpire school. And then that is great confidence for me because I know I can do it since I got a well training. So and also by that time I was a social worker. I had the food bank. We provide a job for the girls who suffering domestic violence, prevent sexual abuse, and the drug problem. Yeah, especially for girls. And we provide them some service, provide them jobs. But however, I think the big issue is sometimes they still think that they need to get married, or they need a boyfriend. Otherwise, she is not deserved to be loved. So that is a big problem because most of the trouble of their life is from men. If they stay single, their life is nice, balanced. But if they got a better partner, I mean, boyfriend, sometimes they just lure their life again. Yeah. So, and then I realized if they don't believe they are worthy to be loved, themselves can be independent by themselves. If they don't believe that, if they don't believe they are worthy, no matter how many assist to them, all the social welfare is not enough. I mean, they will become the rely on social welfare system. Yeah. And their next generation, will underprivileged as well. It's a very, very terrible cycle. So I think the sports can bring me the confidence, motivation, and I try to use sport to help them, help my clients. And also I help out to development the girls who play baseball in Taiwan, because baseball is very, very single sports in Taiwan. I mean, in the world as well. So I believe that if she can see it, she can be it. So that's the reason I stay on the baseball field, because I know the more and more girls will say, hey, somebody do it, I can do it as well. So I founded the association to advocate the gender equality in sports, and also development the teaching materials and the events for little girls, that if they believe that they can do it, just listen to yourself. If you believe you can do it. Yeah, so I'm very enjoying what I'm doing right now.
And you have a lot of passion and energy for what you're doing.
Yeah, we are helping out a softball team and baseball team in Beitou. in Taipei City Junior High School. And I remember when we meet them 3 years ago, I mean, none of them, 16 of them, none of them believe that they can go to college. None of them. They think after the graduated from high school, they will go back to, they will be a player. If they cannot be a player, they try to be a coach. If not, they just go back and marry, get a job, something like that. And they think the university and college is irrelevant to them. But in these 3 years, we have we provided tutor, scholarship, be accompanying with them, and English class as well every week. Just last week, last 2 years ago, last year, we won the national champion.
Wow.
And this year, we are not only the national champion. Last week, we won the Asia champion under 15.
Wow.
And our girls, most of them, 90% of them were from the digital trail, and there are many of their families underprivileged, but they made it. Even before the game, a lot of people, including our softball association, they don't think we can beat Japan, because the girls, they are super strong. They are selected from 3,000 girls in their whole country, and we never ever beat Japan for 13 years. Yeah, but our girls, we did it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I tell our girls that there will be other girls role model. Yeah.
So you're mentoring all these younger women so that they don't end up having to go through an unhappy marriage, possibly sexual abuse or physical abuse, or just being unhappy doing something that they not necessarily wanted to do. You're teaching them independence.
Yeah.
And to have esteem for themselves. And that's a big deal when you're also dealing with the cultures.
Yeah.
It's not just like one family treating them this way. You're talking about a culture. When I'm immersed in the Huichol culture, which are indigenous people in the mountains of Mexico, I had to learn that I had to be a second-class citizen there, because women aren't allowed to sit on the chairs. The women can sit on a rock or a little stool, but a woman can't sit on a chair with a back on it. And I wanted to have a little revolution when I was there. I had all the women, and we were sitting in the little adobe hut, and we were doing some things with beadwork and things like this. And I said to them, I know everyone says that the men do all the work. I said, but I've only seen the women here doing all the work. And they said, I said, I see the men just sitting around being fed all day. And the women said, no, this is our job. I said, you're up before dawn, rolling out masa and making corn tortillas. I said, everybody else is sleeping. I said, maybe you should just don't do it. Just don't show up and don't make tortillas. Everybody laughed. They thought it was the funniest idea that I could ever come up with. So I was trying to have like a little rebellion, but it didn't work. In their mind, it was like, no, this is what we have to do every day. We have to feed the men. We got to do this work and la la la. And they carry all the heaviest load. And there's so many cultures where the women are doing so much more than, and the men are the ones in charge. And I find that very unfair.
Yeah. And people don't appreciate women's sacrifice.
No, or what women have to offer, because women are a man can't give birth. A woman does. And there's something about that body and the things we're able to do that connect us, I feel, to spirit and to earth. Like I always wondered if women were in charge and we finally ever had women presidents, in our country, or would there be less war? Would there be less killing? Because someone who brings forth life doesn't usually want to take life away.
Yeah.
That's my thought anyway. So now that you've been doing this, are you umpiring anymore, or are you just only teaching now, or what's your life like now?
Yeah, I'm still doing umpiring.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think I will umpire in Canada in August.
Oh, on the east or west coast, where in
Thunderbird, I think in the north of Chicago is a Women's World Cup.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. And do any of your family ever come to your games?
Yeah. Yeah. My parents used to went to my games. Yeah.
They're very supportive.
Yes.
That's very wonderful. And now the organizations and foundations you've set up, I was wondering if you could just repeat them so everyone could hear this again so that they know it exactly what it is. And if you
Okay.
want to say for the people who don't have YouTube and don't read the description, if you want to say the website or where it would be able for them to take a look at your organization, your association.
My association is Taiwan Sport Forward Association. Our aim is to help out the young athletes development and empower youth and women through sports. We also development some teaching materials and sport policy and provide scholarship and the sport bra for the girls who are underprivileged. And our goals, our slogan is strong women, better world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, strong body, strong mind I'm just saying, very inspirational. I was wondering, do you use any of your psychic intuition, or I'm not sure which way to call it, because mediumship, does any of that end up appearing when you're playing a game or when you're out there on the field? Or is there a part of you, like sometimes that's, like sometimes I know when I'm driving I should go this way and I avoid an accident.
Yeah.
That kind of.
I have to say, yes, we did some we do take some advantage. I have very good instinct. I have very good instinct. Sometimes I will tell my colleagues that my partner that we should leave this week's left. I mean, we will be busy next week, something like that. About our schedule, our work plan. I will tell them that, yeah, we're gonna be busy on that. So everyone should take vacation but something like that. Yeah.
Right. I used to do that in the catering business, where I would know before I left to do an event that, oh, something's going to happen. The lights are going to go out. I'm bringing candles. And then when all the lights go out and I bring out all the candles, they say, how did you know to bring that? I said, oh, I just knew.
Yeah.
So I think that's an extra great gift to have in whatever work you're doing in.
Yeah.
And so when is your busiest time of the year? Do you ever have time off now? Or I mean, from everything I'm reading, I'm like, I don't think this woman sleeps.
Yeah, I did sleep. I enjoy sleeping, but I think I already get used to, full-time keep working. I mean, since I was a teenage psyche, I don't have too many entertainment. I mean, I just, enjoy. I have to say that since I was a medium, we made so many dead people. I mean, they dead people pass away. So I will value the time that I have. So I know I won't waste my time. I try my best for everything because I know that death is not far away, and so I will try my best to be nice to people.
Yes.
Work hard, and that is the best payback as a media for me. Yeah.
I agree with you on all these things. I feel like I'm not sure if that's why, and I want to thank Jerry Brandel, if you're watching this show, for putting the two of us together. And it was very insightful of him, because I feel like I'm speaking with somebody who had similar teenage experiences. And like in our teenage years here, there was a large drug culture going on. And when I would experiment with drugs with my friends, I would be talking to dead people and they would be listening to rock and roll, and it would be a totally different experience. And so I said, I can't take this drug. I said, because I'm sitting here talking to all kind of dead people that are just appearing, and you're listening to music. So I'm just saying you felt different. I didn't feel like this, and I like knowing you didn't feel that way. You felt the same way. Like you loved your friends, but there was something that never was exactly understood. Yes.
Difficult.
So I'm going to take a quick look here on my last questions because we're coming on our hour. And I just want to see if there's some other things here I didn't get. Oh, I wanted to know from watching the show, did they call you Holy Maiden in the temple?
Oh, I really hate that. I really hate that. I hate that. That's so stupid. I really hate that.
But they did do that when that was real in the show, or was that Hollywood?
Sometimes, some of them, yeah.
They
And
did.
I will not answer them.
Oh, so that was the other thing I wanted to bring up. You said something to me that also felt so good to me, because I was initiated into shamanism by a Mongolian Buryat shaman, and I'm very grateful for the 6-day experience we had being initiated. And I love the shamanic things I've learned, and I love having it as a tool. But you said something, it was said in the show, and I wondered if it was something you said in real life, which is my experience. Somebody said something to you in the temple, and you said, I don't do that. I don't have to start twirling around. I don't have to go into a trance. I'm not going to start doing this and that. It just happens for me. And that's what I experience. But in Mongolian shamanism, when a shaman comes here and does ceremony, they have another spirit enter into their body, and that's where how they're doing their work. But I've done my shamanic healings with people, or blessings, I call them, and I don't have any of that. I don't have to step out and somebody steps in. It just sort of happens. And that's what it sounded like you were trying to tell them. No, I don't have any entertaining thing to do to twirl around, or is that, elaborate on that a little?
Yeah. This is the same to me. And people always try to, conduct us, tell me what to do. Yeah. So I remember when I was young, I tell them that, do you see ghosts? And they say no. And I told them, then why you conduct me what I should do? Yeah.
Right.
You see them. Why you keep telling me what I should do? Yeah. If you can, and if you think that's right. And I remember when I was young that people would say, oh, the God told me that you should blah, 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 blah. And I tell them, I just reply her that if God tell you directly, and then you should do that by your own. Don't tell me what to do. Yeah.
And also, like you say, also, it doesn't always work every single time.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's no information.
Yes.
That to me is real. It's just like in a game of sports, a person can't maybe hit that many home runs. There's some of the time where they don't have a home run. So I'm sure, boy, if you're psychic, they expect you're supposed to be able to do this at any time. And every time.
Yeah, that's no way. No way. Yeah, no way.
Well, I have to go to Taiwan sometime. I didn't know that it was a place where 60% of the people see ghosts. I think that's fabulous.
I mean, the 60 see ghosts is they believe in ghosts, and they have heard the experience. Yeah, the experience. Not everyone see them. Okay.
Right. Well, some people don't believe there are ghosts or spirits.
Not too many people, but most of people, I believe in ghost stories.
Yes. And I think when it happens to them, then that changes their mind. When all of a sudden they feel somebody at the edge of their bed, or somebody's in the doorway, then they might say, oh, maybe there is ghosts. So I just want to know, is there anything that you would like to share about the passion of baseball, or anything you'd like to tell our listeners about what your struggles were, and also that you're doing things to support gender equality. And this is a very big thing. You're leaving a very important thing here on the world, of the work that you're doing. And gender equality is, I'm just saying, I think if there's a little bit you could elaborate on that before we tie up our show.
Thank you. And I remember when I was a student, and I got very confused, and I hate that when friends question me if I can see ghosts or something like that. And also I got after the TV drama, I already suffered a lot of challenge. And my mother told me that if anyone question you, you just answer, I was born this way. I am who I am. I live whatever I want. Just answer them that. That's what my mother told me. So I would like to share with everyone that this is the same thing that why I promote the gender equality in sports, because the best wish to all of us that we are blessing, and we were born this way, and we live our own life whatever we want. Yes.
Beautiful. Well, I want to thank you. I don't know if there's any other topics we need to cover. I think that you've led an exciting and interesting life, and you've taken with it the passion to do things to help others through baseball, through social work. And I just want to applaud you.
Thanks I'm very thankful to US Yankees All-Star Growth Sports Mentoring Program. It's changed my life, and I will helping our other girls.
That's
Thank you.
Isn't it wonderful that there's so many things the United States does to people in other countries that we're mortified that it's that. And I always hope people understand it's not the people who are doing it, it's our government. So to know that you could come here and have all the wonderful positive things that the successful businesses have helped you out, and it came from the US, I'm really proud to know that there are some good people out there besides our government doing good work to help people like you.
Thank you.
Do the other work. So, and your books, are your books available on Amazon? I was wondering if anyone...
but it was in Mandarin. So there was a book named wait a second. 拉拉，你可以帮我拿一本那个瑞璇房间那本橘色的那个书吗？橘色。Wait a second. There's a book in English. I think that's the only one that is about the Title IX and the global impact. I think that is available on Amazon, and the University of Tennessee is published in the University of Tennessee. This one.
Oh, Strong Women, Better World. Oh, beautiful. Title IX's global effect.
Yes.
Great.
I think it is available on internet. It's published by the University of Tennessee.
Great. So, and then so you had more help from the US. They published one of your books into... That's fabulous. Great. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today. And I hope our listeners have enjoyed that we went to Taiwan. And even though we're sitting here in the United States, we were able to zip over there in our Zoom. And I want to thank you so much for joining us. I want to say to our listeners to subscribe, like, share, tell other people about our stories. And also remember, sharing stories with each other helps to heal. So share your stories today. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Gail.